Hello, welcome to Maltbox. I'm Andy and this is Whisky Review number 31. Whisky Review number 31 and also the second part in the random sample draw mini-series. The very catchy name that is. Again, just to reiterate, in case you've not seen Whisky Review number 30, I put a poll out on Twitter to sort of ask everybody who's following what they would like my next mini-series to be, whether it be American whisky, Irish whisky, well-known blends or a random sample draw. And again, as you can tell, random sample draw won. So without further ado, just to again show you like I did in the last review, the sample box, to show that there's no cheating involved. There are the samples. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a glass. I'm going to get my hand, I'm going to close my eyes, and then I'm going to rummage around and just grab one, and then we'll take it from there. Hope you're well, by the way. Let's keep digging. What's this? What's this? Right, it's got a label. Oh, right, okay. Right, yes, the Deanston 12-year-old. There you go. This appears to be a sample that was left over from mine and my fiance's recent visits to the distillery back in May. Deanston 12-year-old then. The Deanston distillery is a Highland distillery situated in Stirling. Let's get that label off. There we go. And it's situated in a former, from memory, is a former cotton mill. So it's an old mill right next to the river. There's a couple of interesting little tidbits about Deanston really. Firstly, not only is it in an old mill that was converted in the 60s, it also generates its own power through a hydro power plant that feeds off the river. It also is entirely self-sufficient in that way, and it actually sells power back to the national grid, which is fantastic. So, you know, if they've not got a massive electricity bill and they're not using all, you know, fossil fuels and stuff and big power stations to power the distilleries, you know, all on site, and the generator is massive when you look at it, or the power plant should I say. 12-year-old is ex-bourbon barrels. It is non-chill filtered, non-coloured, so natural coloured. They are very sort of forthright about that sort of stuff, which is good, especially in the current market. And it's bottled, it sounds like a bit of a random number, but they seem to bottle a lot of their whiskies at this strength, 46.3%. Now, Deanston spirit is very kind of light. It's not very heathery, richy, deep, peaty like you might find other Highlanders. It's kind of the polar opposite to that. So I suppose without further ado, better get onto it, haven't I? So natural colour, nice kind of ambery copper in there. So nice tears running down the glass there as well. Initial thoughts on the nose, it is very much in line with their very atypical Deanston house style, which is light, honeyed, sort of porridgey oats, sweet, floral and quite grassy. It's very approachable, I think we could probably say. It's kind of warming, makes you feel a little bit good inside. Yeah, really porridgey. Going back to it, imagine just that hot porridge with some of that honey stirred through it. Really very sweet, but in a good way. I think maybe a bit of caramel and a bit of toffee in there as well on the nose. I think Werther's original, very traditional sort of toffee sweets. A little bit of apple as well in there, sort of like a bit of a tangy sour apple. Right, onto the palate. nice mouthfeel. Initially, there is still that kind of smooth, creamy, almost porridgey element from the nose. Really does carry through, genuinely. Again with the honey, still very sweet, quite light. There is a bit of heat to it just before it goes into the finish. It does have a little bit of a spicy, heaty kick, which could well be down to the strength, or alternatively, yeah, it's just what it is. You can definitely tell it's ex-bourbon maturation, because the vanilla creeping in now. Again, it is very quite light, with that little spiciness in there. It's very pleasant. It's quite enjoyable. Again, I think the key with this is very approachable. It's a summer whiskey. To me, it is a summer whiskey or a spring whiskey. I don't think it's really one to sit down with in the depths of winter. If you want something to warm the cockles, I don't think this will be it, but perfect for a summer or spring kind of whiskey. Just going back onto the nose there very quickly, a little bit of chocolate coming through there now. And on the palate I'm now getting a bit of raisins, which I didn't get originally. And again, there is kind of that sort of vanilla creme brulee creamy sweetness on the palate, taking it towards the finish. Finish, unfortunately, is quite short, but again, what there is, quite sweet, a little bit of spice in there. The Deanston 12 retails for around 35 quid. Around 35 quid. That's not pinned down. So I think for scores on this one, I will give this an 83 out of 100. It's very approachable, it's enjoyable, it's quite simple, but in a nice way. It's very honest, I think is how I describe it. And if you do ever happen to be around Stirling, I would recommend going and doing the tour of Deanston, because it's a really, really good little distillery tour. Very enjoyable indeed. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you soon, and I hope you enjoyed. Cheers.